Ladies and gentlemen, my name is TotalBiscuit. I'm here to ask and answer one simple question. WTF Is Speedball 2 HD? Well, it's by a company called Tower Studios. I tried to find them on Google, and I determined that they develop wedding photos. Let's just say their search engine optimization may not be the best, and they might want to think about changing their brand a little bit. These guys, on the other hand, should be well known to you. If you don't know them, you're too bloody young. Bitmap Brothers, they developed some fantastic games, including, of course, Speedball 2. What else? Xenon 2 Mega Blast, Magic Pockets. They made Zed as well, if I recall correctly, and Zed 2, which was not as good as Zed, but hey. Some great games. They were one of those classic devs that couldn't really go far wrong. And along comes Speedball 2 HD. And the first question I ask is, why? Why do we have Speedball 2 HD? Well, that is not a question I will be able to answer too well in this video, because this is a bit of a mess in places. Firstly, I'm currently capturing at 23 frames per second. This is a very weird number that doesn't happen anywhere else. The game is locked at 29. 29! Of all things. And then my capture software knocks it down to 23 for no reason. This is not usual whatsoever. So just to be absolutely clear before you start typing comments like, you broke the game, this isn't a fair assessment. I tested it with 3 different frame rate counters, all of them give 29, and when I start capture it goes down to 23, and I do not know why. That is really weird. I cannot explain it. To the options menu. Just how HD is it, you might ask? There are 4 resolutions, 3 of which are 1280s. So it is ignoring some of the most common resolutions, like 1600 by 900, or the common laptop resolutions. No, we're not going to have those. We're just going to have these. That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. Full screen on or off, and then you've got colorblind mode. I appreciate them putting that in, because that's something that not enough companies do, so that's cool, but that's pretty pathetic. There's nothing in the graphics options whatsoever, really, about actually changing the graphical fidelity of the game. Don't worry, the aesthetic is going to just floor you in a minute. Head over to the controls. You can rebind them. Yes. Which is good, certainly. I'd be a little bit upset if you couldn't. There are only 6 buttons, but that is the same way that it was in the main game as well. And I believe you can play on the same keyboard, multiple people, so you can do the whole, I wouldn't say couch co-op, it's more like, can you both squeeze into the seat and then fight each other co-op? So yeah, at least those can be rebind, so that's nice. Happy with that. Sound options. Now, it does talk about music volume, but as far as I can tell, there's no music in the actual game. It's all in the menus. So, I think you might be a bit disappointed there. And then you have tutorial, which is in the options menu. I thought I was going to click this, and it would give me a bunch of, like, say, options for tooltips. Like, you can turn this on or off. Or you can put assist on or off. No, it's the actual tutorial. What? The tutorial is in the options menu? What country, what year is this? I'm really confused now. I don't fully understand. So, on the info screen, since, you know, you maybe don't want to do the tutorial in the options menu, you can find out about the other game features. Since I played this an awful lot as a kid, I pretty much know it inside out, so that's not too big a problem. Now, the game does have multiplayer. It also has challenges here, as you can see, so you can also do custom competitions and things like that. So I appreciate that level of customization. You can mess around. Let's do a custom league, for instance. Here we go, custom league. Nice little disc loading sounds there. Player teams. Ah, yes. All of the classics here. Damocles, they were an absolute nightmare. Steel Fury as well. And then you've got your elite teams and alien teams in there as well. Revolver sucks, by the way, and you will brutalize them, and this is your team. You can then change the arena. There are a bunch of them, but you have to unlock them as you go through, which is a little bit stupid. I don't know what the hell's going on with that. By default, I believe it was only the Speedball Stadium in the original game. So this is a nice little addition. It's just demanding that I look for help here. It's like, click the help button. For the love of God, click it. Yeah, win the Speedball Cup to unlock the Gold Stadium. I hate that. Why can't you just do that from the start? Don't make me jump through hoops, guys. It's silly. And then you can set up your custom league, and, I mean, it doesn't seem to be really an awful lot you can do with it. That's the custom league, apparently, which seems very, very similar to the career mode, so, oh, well, never mind. Alright, let's go to career and show you exactly what Speedball 2 HD is all about. So, back in the day, and this was a long time ago. Oh, they're giving me Steel Fury. This is going to be pretty ugly. Okay. You had a career mode in this game, and it is a... Let's just say it's a very, very violent future sport. The point of Speedball 2 is to earn points. It doesn't have to be through scoring goals. Not at all. It can be through knocking out players. It can be through using the various bonuses on the field. You could not score a single goal and still win. It's actually very much a possibility. Now, for some reason, in this menu, the music is 3 times the volume level of the others. I'm not really sure why that is, but hey, there we go. So you've got this team, and you can actually manage it. So there's your defenders, your mid, and your attack, and your substitutes here. And you can upgrade them, and you can also transfer them. And there's a scout report here that allows you to substitute in and actually get star players and things like that. There's a full transfer system in here as well. So if I want to transfer in a new player to replace one of my old ones, I can do that too. Or I can just keep building up my current ones. Getting star players is quite nice because star players are generally very, very powerful. But unless they've changed this from the original game, star players cannot really be upgraded. So eventually they will be outmoded. You can see these guys actually super powerful, so you wouldn't even need to upgrade any of these. Jeez. That's actually insane. Okay. So these are my guys right here. I believe... I'm not sure if this is the scout for the other team. It might be, or if this is stuff that I can buy. No, these are actually guys that I can buy. So I could swap out here. I could grab this one. I can't afford the really expensive one. Now, this menu is a bit of a pain in the arse to operate because while it is mouse-controlled... it is not sort of fully mouse-controlled in the sense that you could scroll up and down with the mouse wheel. That would just be a little bit too easy. Now, I was talking about the gym earlier, so you can upgrade a variety of different statistics here. Now, I believe I would... Oh, it doesn't tell you. Okay. Does it tell you what all of these are? There we go. There's the player skills. This is something that I was always confused by in the originals to what these player skills actually did. So you can pay money to buy better equipment, which will upgrade the player skills gradually of all of the players on your team. And this is what they determine, as you can see right here. It upgrades the AI, which is a little bit weird, honestly, because you have to wonder to yourself, well, is the AI purposely bad? And then you have to upgrade that. It was an old game. That was the way it was back in the day. It didn't have to make sense. You got things like AI tackle frequency, aggression is very, very good there, and all sorts of different things. So, in the case of the goalkeeper, I really like to upgrade anything involving kind of his defensive statistics. I believe that's him. There we go. So, if I want to upgrade his stamina, usually a good idea. There we go. And I can upgrade his... I want to upgrade his intelligence, I suppose, as well. His AI awareness as a goalkeeper is pretty important. You know, he's not going to be someone that I control all that often. The upgrade system is a little bit weird, because you can upgrade multiple stats simultaneously. And you kind of don't realize that you've done it. You click on another one, then you end up upgrading multiple stats. And then you want to try and upgrade this one, and it won't let you do it. It's a little bit fiddly. But you want to be spending this money as best as you can. All of your aggressive guys are probably going to want increased tackle frequency. They're going to want increased aggression and things like that. There we go. So we can sink an awful lot into that. Cool. I guess that works. Yeah, there will be a strategy to the upgrading, but honestly, when I was a kid, I didn't care. I threw what money I could and then bought a star player every now and again and hope for the best. So let's get into the game and show you exactly what's going on. Now, you are able to change your lineup this time, which is not something that you used to be able to do. I tend to go for very aggressive, and I think I'll probably stick with that because most of my aggressive players are pretty well upgraded, but Steel Fury is probably going to crush me because they're a very good team. All right, into the game. This is Speedball 2 HD. And it looks like arse. I gotta say, there have been some examples of games where it just has not looked as good as the original, and Speedball 2 HD is a prime example of that. The graphics style and the overall aesthetic that they decided to use here was not very good. It's like they sort of traced over the original sprite, and they took away in the process any style whatsoever that they had. I mean, you can call it nostalgia, but that sort of 16-bit style of colorful pixely graphics, especially with the old PC stuff, looked really, really good. Now, Steel Fury's the best team, by the way, so I'm probably going to get my ass trampled in this particular game, but I'll do my best nonetheless to try and give you a show. I hate it. I don't know, maybe it is a nostalgia thing. Maybe I just don't like how it looks because I'm used to the way that the original looked. Maybe that's it. But frankly, I feel that the game could have looked a hell of a lot better, and they really could have reinvented the graphic style instead of tracing over it. Now, not only that, but of course, since all they did was basically trace over the graphics, all of the handling is the same. All of the animations are the same, which is not that great because the animations originally were very, very old, and they continue to look that way, and running at 23 frames a frickin' second doesn't really help much either, I've gotta say. Also, they didn't add any music. They used all the original sound effects, which sounds like it would be great for nostalgia, but honestly, the sound assets of Speedball 2 were never that good to begin with. The fact that it didn't have music in the game, in my opinion, was a weakness. And unfortunately, it seems like they have not learned from that whatsoever. And that's really, really disappointing. Now, the point of the game, as I said, is to score goals, but also score points in different ways. So if you knock out players, you get points. There's basically features all over the place. Like, you can hit that little area in the middle of the map there to gain a points bonus. I'm trying to catch up with them, but that's, of course, very difficult. It's currently 24-4. If you light up all the 5 stars, you get bonuses. You can send the ball through that little ring that I showed you, and that will actually teleport it over the other side of the map. There's all sorts of really cool things you can do here. They haven't altered the gameplay in any way, which is probably for the best, but this sort of opens up a discussion, I think, on what you really need from an HD remake here. And I think that expectation is going to be different things from different people. And that's totally fair. But to me, if I was going to play Speedball, especially considering what they did to the aesthetic, in my opinion, was not that great, I really would have just played the original. I can play it on an emulator. It's very easy to do. I could play the Mega Drive version. I could play it on DOSBox, on an Amiga emulator. I can do it pretty much anywhere. And I get the idea of having a legitimate way of buying Speedball again is nice. But I expect more. It seems like most of the additions they've put into this were cursory at best, and I really genuinely feel like they actually ruined the graphics style. I really do. Like, it's nice to see a little bit more detail on the sidelines there, but without changing any of the animations or making the game smoother, in fact, arguably worse, because I'm pretty sure it's running at a lower frame rate than the original was right now, it's really hard to recommend it. So what do you expect from an HD remake? What do you require? Is this okay? Because it isn't for me. I would have expected some serious overhauls, but other people would complain, I think, if that's all they got. So, lately we've been having this discussion. I think since Age of Empires HD came out, it was kind of a big deal. And then there was also the debacle with the Silent Hill HD collection, which was just terrible. Simply because they ruined a good aspect of the game there. And that's where the danger comes in, isn't it? Because if you end up changing the graphic style and the animations and the way that the game feels, old school fans end up complaining. But in my case, I'm kind of played out on the old Speedball. This, to me, just seems like it's an excuse to get me to play the exact same Speedball again, pay $10 for it, and maybe have an online multiplayer, which is not bad, don't get me wrong. I like the fact that there's an online multiplayer. At least I assume it's an online multiplayer. It better not just be an on-the-same-seat multiplayer. I'm gonna have to check that after this. But when you take the charm of the original away and then expect me to pay for your new version, well, I'm sorry, that isn't good enough. I want to see a new Speedball game, or at least have variants. And I was looking to see if there were any rule set variants, and there don't appear to be. Take the old rule set, change things up. I know they've got different stadiums, but they make you do entire championships in order to unlock them, which is really quite absurd. Man, I was losing against Steel Fury, and now I'm knocking out half of their team. It's really great. This is why I like my aggressive playstyle. Seems to work pretty well. I'm actually trouncing them. The weird thing about this is it almost seems like it's easier than the original, because Steel Fury, if you got them in the early rounds, would just destroy you. Them and Damocles were just ridiculously powerful. So I'm very, very surprised that I was able to just run them over there. But there you go. That's Speedball 2 HD, as you can see. It's, to me, not exactly what I would call a particularly good version of the game. Looks kind of hideous, frankly. Let's see if there is actual online multiplayer. Because if there isn't, then this is going to be... There isn't. Oh, man. Oh, it's local only. You know, I'm sorry, but I'm not okay with being sold a really old game with an HD makeover, I suppose, and I don't even feel that it is an HD makeover. I genuinely think it looks worse than the original, because it loses the original's charm and doesn't add anything of its own. It's just a bit of a cynical cash-in, and unfortunately, that's the same as Chaos Engine that was also released recently. It seems like all the Bitmap games are coming out again with HD versions that end up being horribly disappointing and don't really add anything to the experience. That's what Speedball 2 HD is for me. Is Speedball 2 still a good game? Yeah, it is. It is a good game. But it's also like 20 years old now. And it's certainly out of date. The nostalgia's kind of worn off for me. And as much as it will be one of my favorite games of my childhood, I cannot justify recommending to you to experience it with Speedball 2 HD. It sucks to say it, but I'd rather you experience it on an emulator because you'll get that original graphic style, and I think you'll like it more. I really do. It might be a bit blurry, a bit more pixely, but it's a little bit more colorful, it's a little bit more vibrant and vital, and it really feels like a game of the age. Whereas this just feels like they've trundled it out again, put some makeup on it, and said, hey guys, look at this. She was a supermodel 50 years ago, doesn't she look great now? It's just kind of sad. Leave the poor old biddy alone, please. Yeah, that's it, folks. That's Speedball 2 HD, one of my favorite games of yesteryear, and I don't think the HD version adds too much, I'm afraid. If you do believe that you want to play Speedball 2 again, by all means. It'll cost you $10. It's currently on sale, I think, for $8, your regional equivalent on GOG as well as Steam. But without online multiplayer, with terrible frame rate, really lackluster options, and very few actual additions to the title, as well as a ruined aesthetic, in my honest opinion, I'm sorry, I can't recommend it. That's really sad. I need to get out my Mega Drive emulator and play it on that. That would be nice. My name's been TotalBiscuit. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.